Hey, how's it going, guys? So this is going to be a very short intro video, and I'm going to essentially create one for each of the Days of Nautobot. This is a project that they have set up in their GitHub repo, just 100 Days of Nautobot. I'll probably squish some of these days together, depending on how complex they are. But the intro video today is essentially how I'm going to be getting my development workspace set up. I am not going to do the code bases that they have here just because I don't want to forget that I have something running and then get charged for it. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to leverage Nautobot's cookie cutter app, which is really what you're going to be doing if you're going to be using this anywhere in enterprise. You're going to be creating apps and installing them to a Nautobot base or core app, either at runtime or something else. So this is really what you're going to be doing, is creating a lot of plugins. So after all the instructions are here, very easy to read. You just need to have cookie cutter installed, make an output repo, and then just run the command down here. In my case, mine is going to be called Nautobot tutorials, which is I already did all the steps here, and it's just Nautobot tutorial, and it just gives you a couple boilerplate code that already has their like model, view, and test. So after I do that, and you follow the command prompts from the terminal, the only thing that I'm doing separate is that I'm creating my own VNV. This is not in any of the steps that are defined there, but this is just something that I always do. So create my VNV. I have my Python manager extension here, and then I just activate it. And once I do that, then I do the actual poetry install and get all my requirements installed. Um, and finally, once I do that, I'm working with workspaces, so I have it in my workspace here, and then I also have my Nautobot MCP server, which is also in a particular repo. This is just my own, but it's publicly available that anybody can use it. But other than those two things, I don't have anything else installed. So once you finish doing all that and you run invoke debug, that actually launches the Nautobot service running. I am currently running version 2.4.10, and you can configure this in your development. And you go into your task.py, and this is under namespace configure, and you just say the version that you're trying to use when you actually launch this locally. So once that's launched locally, you'll have nothing, but I've already done just a couple of things, and I'll probably do another video doing design builder, which is probably the best way that I can think of doing uh, a lot of boilerplate code for you, or even doing like a custom script to kind of fetch stuff. But realistically, you would probably get a copy of your, depending on how big it is, of your production or non-production database, and then import that into your local Nautobot to use. Or you can do something like Design Builder um, from Nautobot and create something that's just bare bones and just your backend information to really start just working on stuff. So like a quick start for this is you can just do a design, which is essentially just you can have all your device types, location types, tags, roles, things that you will always need to just start something. And then you can just get a couple of devices and circuits in like test with test names. So you can just start playing around with it. So it really depends on your organization. But for this case, I just created three simple location types: region, state, data center. And then I have my role, which is um, router role, and this is just for DCIM device. And then I just have one device type, 2951 ISR, and that's just a random one that I created. And my device is device 01, and it's just, has nothing here other than the boilerplate backend information that it needs. Um, Realistically, you will create a job unless there's one already pre-made, but I've never seen it. But you will likely create a custom job and leverage the Netbox community device type library, which is exactly where I got this device from. But if you create a job that you scrape, everything that has Cisco in it, so you can go into this folder and basically say, give me all of these and import them. I mean, that's a lot, but I guess you could do that. Or you can just say, I already know my device types. Like, let's say you have 55 05. You can have a script that goes into here, goes into the Cisco folder, looks for this, and then pulls this information out. And then all the job would essentially be doing is, if I go to devices and I go here, device types, and I go import YAML, you can just, it would literally just be something like this, boop, and then it gets created, and it's got all the boilerplate interfaces, console port, power ports, and module bays already configured for you. And the job would probably be the same. And you can have that job where the user would just specify this, and you would automatically know, boom, it's a Cisco, go out and get this and then import it. I'll try to find the code for that later. But essentially, this is kind of my working lab that I have going on here. The last thing is that I do have my MCP server installed, and the reason why I have that is because I can just ask information or have it create information for me. So I can say, get me the information for device 01 in Nautobot. And this is literally the only device that I have here. It's just device 01. But the cool thing about an MCP server is that it can run API calls for me. So it can get API calls for me, give me all the information, right? Serial, IPs, tenants, the location that it's at, the manufacturer and device type, the device itself. And I can even say, create another device exactly like this, but called device 02. And if I write that, in theory, it should be able to recreate this exact device and do it again. So once you notify that, if I go back here, I should see a device 2. So having an MCP server that has all of the API capabilities makes it really easy to just create test data. And that's something that I'm going to be playing around with on my own and seeing if I can just make that work. But in reality, it would be something like Design Builder or something repetitive that you can share with others, and they can just import that job and get all that information going. But this is just a quick demo on Nautobot and how I'm going to be getting started. And then we'll slowly start going through all these days, which essentially the next thing will be Nautobot jobs, which, just a quick intro, they're just an asynchronous execution because Nautobot uses salary workers to kind of do all the backend work for these. And you will be doing a lot of these for reports, for data manipulation, for external API calls, emails. I have like some capability for like jobs. If they fail, I get an email notification so that I know that it failed, because you won't know unless you go into job results to see. And if you go into like demo nautobot.com, which is just open source for anybody to go see, if you go to job results, there's really not a way to see what any of these do. Like, I have no clue what any of this is. I would have to go into each of them and click. And you may have a job that does 5 different things because it can be 5 different vendors or 5 different devices, but it doesn't specify anywhere here what it is. You would have to click on one of it and then go see the logs and be like, oh, okay, this is for this IP. And it can become very challenging, especially if you have a lot of jobs. So if you have a mechanism in your job that you can create like a mix in, and then you can just inherit it on every other job that says, hey, if you fail, I want you to email me, the failing error, give me this endpoint, and the name of the job or something, or the whole file or something, so that if you get an email, I can automatically click on the endpoint, it will send me here, and then I know this is particularly what failed, and this is why I got notified. And that would make life a heck of a lot easier for debugging. But other than that, that's it for this video. We'll start doing the second one, which will be creating a Nautobot job. And I will read through this beforehand and kind of see the hello part, which is this one here. And then we'll go from there. I might just make it a little bit different because I think this is kind of really bare bones. But we'll see how it is, because I kind of haven't even seen most of these. All right.